Hello and very welcome to our today's conversation with another amazing talk to the Entities Facilitator, Gosia. Gosia Lorenz, how do we pronounce it? I oftentimes don't know how to spell names. So just like, I adore you. And I'd like to say something about yourself.
You said it a German way. Here we pronounce it Lorenz.
How do you pronounce it?
Accent, but Lorenz is very German, yes.
Lorenz. I didn't say Lorenz, did I?
You should have. I like it. Talk German to me. I love it.
Probably people will not understand then. So I would like to ask you, like, you're in Talk to the Entities Facilitator since longer time, are you? And you're creating a lot of classes.
Yes.
And I would I would like to ask you the secret that you're using. I know you're facilitating classes around the world and they are big and huge. And I wonder, what do you know about business with entities? Like, what is your secret here?
Thank you. I first of all have to acknowledge that this is what is. I don't think I'm acknowledging enough of my creations. Just more like, oh, this is what's happening. Oh, this is what just occurred. This is what showed up. And
it's happening.
Yeah.
And nothing to do with you or capacities you have. No.
So awesome. Yeah, and it's funny because I also see that it's like this global movement and global changes in consciousness. Because when I was facilitator of Talk to the Entities before, one of the first ones, the classes didn't create so easily for anyone. I don't recall like anyone being really successful with those classes. And, Talk to the Entities was also, as a company, as a business, as a creation, was also going through different stages of levels of creations until it is what it is now. And I remember, as facilitators talking and wondering how we can change, how we can have people come towards us, not away from us, running and screaming when we talk about the entities. Things like things have really changed. So it's this global creation of all of us talking about it, being enthusiastic about entities, being enthusiastic about energies. I try to always present it as it's not about dead people only. Do not worry. It's about including all energies around you to the creation of your life, because the house you're living in is an entity, your business is an entity, your car is an entity, the trees outside are entities. Like, we are surrounded by different entities that co-create this reality, and we can invite all those energies to play and to create. So it's really not only talking to dead people. This is such a fraction of this whole talk to the entities. And when people get it, like, oh, I can use it to talk to my business. Oh, I can make more money. Oh, I can have better, relationship with my body. That is an entity as well. It's like they start getting bigger picture of like what it really is. And then after taking a class or any class with Talk to the Entities tools or access tools, they see like, oh my gosh, this is so huge. This is like, I had no idea how big this stuff is and how amazing this stuff is. Yeah.
Cool. So what questions do you ask the entities when you create an entities class or any class with access? Like, what are the questions you're using? I'm just curious about that.
So I look at my calendar, first of all, because my travel is limited, and I used to travel last year was about 10 to 14 days a month. And now I wanted to decrease the amount of traveling a little bit because of the circumstances in my life. And so I look at the calendar, I kind of like mark the weekends where it's like to go, where I would like to go. And I start asking, hey, who wants me there? Who would like to host me? Where should I be? Guys, where do you want me to be? Who is looking for me? And I keep asking questions. Where? Show me, tell me. Where is somewhere that I can create change? Where can we create the biggest change possible? Where we can create a global impact of consciousness? Where should we go? And invitations just show up. They always show up. And if I go to a place to facilitate a class, I always get invited back, in a half year or a year, and it just keeps flowing. It's this never-ending flow and creation that it's this organic life organism, almost this business and this classes. And I know that the countries are happy when I come in. The land is happy. The earth spirits are happy. I can literally hear them cheering sometimes when I land somewhere. Or I can hear the gratitude of the land, and sometimes I start crying. It's like, what is it? Why am I crying? I haven't been here before. And I was like, what is it? Is this me? No. Is this me being aware of something? Yes. Is this? And very often it's land. Like land is grateful for me bringing these tools to the people of this land. So what if we are not just like this singular, entities in this world, but we actually are interconnected with everything around us, and everything around us is also aware of us, even if we don't acknowledge it. Because if I just thought, oh, I'm crying because I'm tired, or I'm happy, whatever it is, it could be like shoved out of my universe. But when I acknowledge, like, oh my gosh, the land is happy and grateful for me, like how amazing. First few times, like I hardly believed it and I couldn't receive it. But now it's just such a beautiful energy that shows up. So I know we're creating change. Even if we do talk to a friend about those tools, we're creating change. So those energies are aware of us. They know about us. It's like they're looking. they're
and
watching.
I would like really invite everybody just right now, wherever you are on the planet here, and tap into the earth and into the land and receive. Is the earth grateful for you? For every single one watching now or in the future?
Wow. Like now add the earth spirits.
Yeah, the earth spirits. It's like
other entities.
And it's I'm totally with you. Like I have this so often, like I'm doing every morning at 8 o'clock the energy pulse, and we include the earth every day. And oftentimes I'm sitting here crying of gratitude. And yes, it's in both ways. Like we have a co-creation here on planet Earth. And for me, the entities open up so much. Yeah, to acknowledge that or play with it or just experience. Like, I don't know how to put it in words even. So,
you know what I just got when you were talking, that not only we're educating people about entities, we're also educating entities about what is for them, like how often they might be confused, not sure what's going on with them, what's happening, because maybe they died, in during surgery when they had tons of drugs in their system, pharmaceuticals, or somebody died on drugs of overdose, or under the influence of alcohol, or just wasn't a very conscious person, like how much we contributed to the whole spirit world about what is for them, and teach them, because they're present in classes by, it's not, tens or hundreds, it's thousands or millions very often. So they're literally listening to the classes and listening to the information. So we are creating change on so many levels, not only, 5, 10, 15, 20, 30, 50 people in a class. It's so much bigger than that. So, and each one of us takes this information and talks about it and bees this new energy in his or her environment, and all these entities are being this energy now, like, oh, I have a choice. Oh, I can choose something different. Oh, I don't need to be stuck here. So it's like a ripple effect of change. It's not, one person creating change. It's absolutely exponential. So we need to acknowledge more, I think, what we're doing with these tools. And Shannon is so brilliant by creating talk to the entities and the tools, and being so, tirelessly working on it, and being so diligent in just keeping going with all those tools. And I'm eternally grateful, really, for all of that.
Me too. Like, I think we all are so grateful, like also the clarity and the presence, and like the willingness to go whatever there is,
Yes.
So,
yeah. And when you facilitate, like what joy occurs. Like, it's not those classes, okay, they can be very intense, they can be very,
and that can be so much fun,
and there's so much fun, and at the end there's so much lightness. Everybody feels completely different about themselves, about the life, about the past, about all these huge, significant, heavy-duty things that were happening to them. They're like, oh, never mind, I have a choice, I can create something different. And it's just so amazing. I love that.
So may I ask you, like, what was the one thing that changed for you the much after you have become a Talk to the Entities Facilitator? Like, is there something you can remember or recall?
Yes, there's absolutely this one biggest thing for me. Okay, ready?
Tell us.
Trusting me. Like, I did not trust myself at all. I was the crazy lady who was going to psychics and fortune tellers and consulting everything with pendulums and crystals and cards and angel cards and tarot cards. And I never believed myself. I never believed that I know, that I can trust myself. And with these classes, I so quickly realized like, oh, I need to trust myself. There's no more like, I'm not sure, is this happening?
Goosebumps.
It's like, no, I have to be sure beyond the shadow of a doubt. And sometimes now I see how much awareness there is of everything around us. And sometimes it's confusing. Like, I don't know any longer what's true for me. I don't know any longer what's light for me, what's heavy for me. And I started like kind of unveiling this layers of the knowing. Sometimes I'm so clear, and then I'm realizing like I'm in someone else's universe. I'm like, oh, that's not even me. I'm literally like pulled somebody in, and I'm functioning from their universe, and I need to disconnect and release that and be so clear with me, because we are so aware. And the more our awareness grows, and with these classes, with these tools, with using of these tools, our awareness will grow and be stronger and be bigger. We can be like almost like entangled, like if we are oneness and this reality is within us, how much we are embodying this reality and all of this from this reality, not only beautiful rainbows, butterflies, and unicorns, we also embody the crazy, the insane, the scary, and fearful, reality of other people. So like it takes courage to keep going through this. It's like this entanglement of like a forest, like a jungle of people's projections and people's thoughts, feelings, emotions that we are surrounded with and embodying also and aware of. That sometimes you might feel you're going crazy. You don't know anymore who are you and what are you, what's going on and what's true for you. So like we have to keep going. We have to keep going and keep trusting us and keep asking, like, is this me? I ask, is this me? Is this me? Is this me? Was it my awareness? Oh, what am I aware of somebody else's world? Like, oh, I was. Okay, that's me now. So it's now I've never had this level of, awareness of anyone and everything around me. And now I get it's also entities, like it's their awarenesses as well and their projections as well. So not only on the people with bodies around us, and if you live in a city, if you live with a lot of people, that's a lot of signals, that's a lot of information being, projected at you constantly. Plus you have all of that coming from, beings without bodies. So we're like in a constant soup of information.
Therefore, Gary is saying, and like the founder of Access Consciousness, like 99.999% of all the thoughts, feelings, emotions you have in yourself are not yours. Like yes. The question of who does it belong to is really, who does this belong to is really an important one. Yeah.
Yes, right. I always call it the most advanced tool in Access. We laugh because sometimes this is this big elaborate question and problems like, is this even yours? Oh, no, never mind.
And it's so funny. Like if you ask yourself, it's like, I don't get clear. Somebody else is asking, is it yours? Oh, no. And then it's totally clear. Like,
I know.
I asked that a whole day, but I didn't get clarity on it. Like now you just ask me, it's totally clear. It's not mine. Like funny, isn't it?
Yes, I have it many times. Like I think it's mine. Is it mine? Okay, stop thinking. But yeah, it's light. And then somebody else was like, oh no, absolutely not. I know it's not mine. So I have no idea. We need to have like a little person next to us always asking, is this yours? Is this yours? Or maybe get an app or something.
And I think it's the coolest thing ever, that we don't have to figure out everything by ourselves. Like there are people that are willing to ask the question as well. So it's so cool.
Yeah.
What is like the most do we have a fun experience what happened in class with participants, what they just get out of, or like is there something that you would like to share with people, like what has happened in classes?
Oh wow, there's so many amazing stories. Usually the biggest changes I perceive and I witness when somebody had like another entity that was dominating their life, or more than one, and they got rid of it, and everything suddenly made sense, like why they couldn't make choices, why they were doing this, why they were not doing this, why they felt stuck. And of course we never want to go into the whys, but people usually, this is where they get, it's like, oh, that explains everything, now I understand, now I would get it. And I try to get them like, it's okay, like see what you can create without this entity. But usually this is like this biggest, or somebody had a lot of demons from another lifetimes, or they were using them to control others, and suddenly they realized maybe this is not creating the most, maybe it was fun at some point a long time ago in a galaxy far away, but now maybe it's not creating the most consciousness I would like to create, and they realized that something else is possible. So seeing this big aha moments in participants, and the clearings, and how their faces change, how the bodies change, how their whole universe just starts shifting, and seeing the possibilities in like, oh, and now I can create my life in a completely different way by including everything around me. And another big changes is when they were scared of entities, and they had some kind of misconception and some, education coming from horror movies or church, and they realized like, oh, they're not something that you just have to clear and get rid of always, or like something that will get you or hurt you. Like you do invite it in some way, and I don't have to do it anymore. So it's just this level of consciousness that shows up, of consciousness of choice, consciousness of new possibilities, being more aware of what is with the body and with the life. So I can think of a lot of good stories, but it's more like this is the general.
And I also like the one thing about, and I wonder what is possible for the future. Like you just told in one meeting, I can't remember which one or where it was exactly, about that you went in school and talked about entities with students.
Yes.
Would you like to tell that? Like that is so amazing. Like how hard the class is, and and you just came there and talking about ghosts, and everything was easy.
Yes, I was invited to speak at the university here in California, and I spoke to almost 400 kids, well, students. And I told them, hey, we can talk about this. And I didn't prepare. I didn't want to prepare because I knew this is not something I can prepare for. And I had 2.5 hours to speak to them. And it's a full room of kids that just want to go through the lecture. They don't care.
How old are they?
It's like, college students. So 18, 19, 20. I'm not even sure what the ages were. And they were just, kind of curious because I was introduced as the modern day witch. So it's like, hey guys, we can talk about this, we can talk about that, we can talk about creating your life, we can talk about the future, we can talk about your bodies, we can talk about entities and ghosts. So the first one was like how to create your future, how to look at the future. So that I was surprised that this was the first request. And then ghost stories. Do you have any ghost stories? So I chose the ghost stories. They were really good, and kind of had a confirmation in this reality that something I was talking about, it really happened before, like past lifetimes experiences. And I sneaked in as many tools as I could, and as much information as I could, like what can we do with all of this, and how can we use all this information and be different in life, and be the dominant entity in our life. And it changed so much. I could see them changing, and then I heard from the professor and from the assistants that you really, like, this is a tough crowd. They don't pay attention too much to what the lecturer is talking about, and they really were interested in, and they thanked me in the end, and they were very grateful. So I know that we can usually, I'm exposed to people that come to me because they want this information, not me showing up and talking to a bunch of people that really might not be interested, but somehow they were very interested, and it was so cool because this is the new generation that will create our life, our world in a different way. So if they know more about consciousness, about happiness, about joy, about creating their life, not seeing themselves as a little worker bees, and they have to finish college and go to work, and they don't have too much say in this world because it's so big and overwhelming, and showing them that they are powerful creators and infinite beings. Something occurred to the degree, which was interesting. The next day, I was judging myself so bad, like, oh, you didn't say this, you didn't say that. I was like, what is this negative voice in my head? Like, what is that? I was so happy afterwards, and everybody was so excited about this lecture. And I was like, oh, did I create so much change that now, the demons woke up and like wanted me to judge myself to undo the changes. I was like, wow, this is exactly what occurred.
Yeah,
So yes, I was like, wow, okay, I must have created, because I started asking questions, okay, did I change at least one person? Did I contribute to at least one person in the room? And it was almost 400 people. And I kept asking questions to like get me out of this funky voices in my head. And I realized like, oh, this is what it was. If we create too much change, if we create too much, if we step up too much, there are energies that are maybe not too happy about that. And they will try to change it and diminish you and make you, judge yourself. So then I was like, okay. And as Gary says, if you don't have enemies, that means you're not big enough. So I was like, oh, I have some energetic enemies that were very unhappy about what I told them about. So this was a confirmation for me that something bigger was created than just like one child, maybe, or one, teenage kid was changing. So this was a really good. Thank you for reminding me about this.
Awesome. Yeah, I mean, that's so cool. Like having kids willing to hear about that. Like if you look in school, mostly they're bored like hell. And like you coming there and telling them something that they're really interested, like, oh, I can create a future. I mean, looking around, most kids don't have any tools to create a future. They just hear what is right and wrong and that everything sucks. Like,
yeah, and it's difficult and it's challenging and they have to fight and work hard.
It's not true. Like your point of view creates a reality, as we know. So that's so amazing. Wow. I think very good. Is there some questions? There's somebody. Saludos desde Lima, Perú, que el idioma no limite al conocimiento y las ganas de aprender. I don't know what it means. I think I can read it, but I have no fucking clue what it's saying.
Something, I think that the language is a limitation, I think, for this person from Lima, Peru. I understand this one.
Spanish, I know that, yeah.
That's awesome.
So greetings to Isel Yi Huaman.
Oh,
thanks for the questions. Like probably after 9 trainees, what else is possible?
What else is possible than that? And I'm learning my Spanish, but I'm not very good still.
So good. So thank you so much, Gosia. That was really wow.
Thank you, Simone. Thank you for your creation and always inviting people to play and always inviting to create more. And you're so amazing. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Will we meet in Brazil for the Earth Spirit?
I will be online. I just came back from Brazil and I'm going twice in the fall, August and September. So I will be in Canada in May and here in California. But I will be online, definitely. This is the class that it's been pulling me, and I've had such activity of Earth Spirit since I started. I didn't even think I was an Earth person, and suddenly
it has started.
Yes, I'm talking about Earth. Yes, and they come and they talk and they pull me in and they ask what they can do, and I'm like, wow! And I talk to the trees all the time. So definitely something is shifting in this department too, and the land talking to me.
Wow!
Awesome.
So thank you so much. Have a good day for yours today. Like we have in the evening, like with all
evening.
The time zones,
for me, it's 9:30 in the morning. Cool. So thank you so much, Simone. And thank you, everyone. Thank you for watching.
Thanks for watching. Bye.
Ciao. Ciao for now.